Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to be trading every single team's best player in NHL 23. So basically what we're going to be doing is I'm going to put every team's best player on the wheel and we are going to spin it. Whatever team it lands on, good or bad, that is the team that they are going to. And essentially every team is just going to lose their best player for absolutely nothing, no assets in return. And who knows, maybe we'll see 3 or 4 players go to the same exact team and they can build a super team. But enough talking, let's get right into the wheel. Alright, so the first player that we have up here on the wheel is going to be Troy Terry. Let's see which team he's going to be joining here. And he's going to be traded to the Calgary Flames. Next up, we have Clayton Keller of the Arizona Coyotes. Let's see which team he's going to be joining here. And he's going to be joining the Colorado Avalanche, the greatest team of all time. Next up, we have David Pastrnak of the Boston Bruins. What team is he going to be joining? And he's going to join the Nashville Predators. Now we have Tage Thompson of the Buffalo Sabres, and he's going to be joining also the Nashville Predators. So now they have a duo of David Pastrnak and Tage Thompson. Also UC Saros in the net, and of course Roman Josi on D. Now we have Elias Lindholm of the Calgary Flames. Now, Anaheim is going to get a return on Troy Terry as they're going to be picking up Elias Lindholm. Next up is Andrei Svechnikov of the Carolina Hurricanes. And he's going to be joining the Washington Capitals. So the guy that knocked him out in his rookie season, Alex Ovechkin, now is his teammate. Now we have Seth Jones of the Chicago Blackhawks, one of the worst players on this list, to be honest. And how fitting is that he's going to go to the Seattle Kraken. I thought the San Jose Sharks were going to take it, but Seattle's not a bad team. So, all right, now we have the greatest player of all time in Nathan MacKinnon of the Colorado Avalanche. What team is he going to be joining? And sadly for him, he's going to have to join the Chicago Blackhawks, the worst team in the NHL. Now we have Johnny Hockey of the Columbus Blue Jackets. What team is he going to join here? And he's going to be joining the Colorado Avalanche. So they are going to get a return on Nathan MacKinnon and Johnny Hockey. Now we have Jason Robertson of the Dallas Stars. And he's going to join the Calgary Flames, so they will also get a return in the form of Jason Robertson for Elias Lindholm. Now we have Dylan Larkin of the Detroit Red Wings. What team is he going to join here? And he's also going to be joining Jason Robertson on the Calgary Flames, so now they have a duo. Calgary might actually have a better team than they did to start out with. Now for the Edmonton Oilers, obviously we have Connor McDavid. He's the best player in the entire game, so... And he's going to be joining Jack Hughes on the New Jersey Devils, one of the better teams in the NHL. Now we have Matthew Tkachuk of the Florida Panthers. What team is he going to join here? Let's see. And he is off to Winnipeg, baby, to the Winnipeg Jets. Poor Matthew Tkachuk. Now we have Drew Doughty of the Los Angeles Kings. And he's going to be joining the St. Louis Blues, so I guess that's a good pickup, but next up is Kirill Kaprizov of the Minnesota Wild. And he's going to be joining the Nashville Predators. Next up is Nick Suzuki of the Montreal Canadiens. What team is he going to join? And he's going to be joining Connor McDavid on the New Jersey Devils. All right, now we have Roman Josi of the Nashville Predators. We're not going to put Past on here, even though he is a higher overall. But Roman Josi is an original member of the Nashville Predators, and now he's going to be joining the New York Rangers. Now we have Jack Hughes of the New Jersey Devils. What team is he going to join here? And he is going to be joining the LA Kings. He's going to be the king of LA, as he is going to be their best player on their team. Now for the New York Islanders, we do have Ilya Sorokin. He's their best player, so what team is he going to join here? And he's going to go to the Boston Bruins, the team that just won 65 games in real life. Next up is Breadman of the New York Rangers, and he's going to be joining the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's going to join Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin. Next up is Brady Tkachuk of the Ottawa Senators, and he's going to be joining the New Jersey Devils. Oh my god, New Jersey is absolutely stacked now. They have Nick Suzuki, Connor McDavid, and now Brady Tkachuk, and all they lost was Jack Hughes. Now we have Sean Couturier of the Philadelphia Flyers, and he's going to be joining, sadly, the Columbus Blue Jackets, who are not a great team in the NHL at the moment. Next up, we have none other than Sid the Kid, Sidney Crosby of the Pittsburgh Penguins, and he's going to be joining Oh my God, he was so close to staying with Pittsburgh, but instead he's going to have to go to the San Jose Sharks, one of the worst teams in the NHL. Now we have Vince Dunn of the Seattle Kraken. And he's going to be joining the Philadelphia Flyers. Up next, we have Jordan Kyrou of the St. Louis Blues, and he's going to be joining the New York Rangers. Now we have Andrei Vasilevsky, the best goalie in the entire game of the Tampa Bay Lightning. And he is going to be taking Ilya Sorokin's place on the New York Islanders. All right, now we have Mr. Mustache himself, Auston Matthews of the Toronto Maple Leafs. What team is he going to join? And just like it might be a promo with Pekka Pasta, he's going to be joining the Seattle Kraken. Next up is Elias Pettersson of the Vancouver Canucks. He's a 91 overall. And he's going to be joining the New York Rangers, so New York has picked up a few good players here. All right, now we have Alex Pietrangelo of the Vegas Golden Knights, the defending champs in the NHL at the moment. And conveniently enough, actually no, I think he's going to Florida. Yes, he's going to the Florida Panthers. It would not have been good if he did go to the Edmonton Oilers, considering he did try to chop off Leon Draisaitl's arm. Now, of course, we do have Alex Ovechkin of the Washington Capitals, and he's going to be joining the Philadelphia Flyers, which is a weird pickup, I guess. Philly is not going to be any good regardless if Ovi is there or not, but. And finally, we have Connor Hellebuyck of the Winnipeg Jets. What team is he going to join here? Almost stayed in Winnipeg, but instead, I think he's going to the Anaheim Ducks. Yes, he is. All right, so now that we traded every team's best player to another team using the wheel, let's go ahead and simulate to see who goes on to win the Stanley Cup for 5 straight seasons. At the end of the regular season, the New Jersey Devils, no surprise here, as they're going to finish first in the entire NHL as they go 55, 25, and 2, followed by the Washington Capitals. I did not see that coming. Calgary was up there as well, Nashville, Buffalo, and Vegas. At the bottom of the NHL, we have the Arizona Coyotes. Yet again, they're always down there. St. Louis was down there, and Florida finished third last in the NHL. That is tough. Leon Draisaitl is going to end up leading the entire NHL in goals with 61 and points with 135, followed by McDavid's 117. McKinnon had 111. Marner had 100. Matthews 93. Pasta had 91. Cole Caulfield was actually up there. Mikko Rantanen and Evgeny Kuznetsov. Now for goals, other than Draisaitl, McKinnon had the second most with 58 goals. Matthews had 53, Kane 49, Mikko Rantanen had 47, DeBrincat 43, Johnny T 43, Cole Caulfield was up there, and of course McDavid had 42. Now for defensemen, Rasmus Dahlin is going to have a huge season. I mean, 84 points in 82 games is incredible as a defenseman, followed by Chris Letang 77, Quinn Hughes 66, Cale Makar 64, Don Carlson had 63, Dougie Hamilton, Heiskanen, Adam Fox only had 10 goals and 53 points. Vanacek is going to have the most wins by any goalie with 43, followed by Darcy Kemper's 41, Stuart Skinner 37, UC Saros was up there, Varlamov, Samsonov, Markstrom, and Shesterkin. UC Saros is going to end up with the most shutouts at 9 in the NHL, followed by Marc-Andre Fleury's 8, Ville Husso had 7, Hellebuyck 6, and this is what our year 1 playoff matchups look like. And in the Stanley Cup final, we have the Nashville Predators versus the New York Rangers. Who is going to go on and win the Stanley Cup in year number 1? Now, despite picking up David Pastrnak, Tage Thompson, and Kirill Kaprizov, sadly, Nashville is still going to fall to the Rangers in the Stanley Cup final as they got swept. It was not even close. And now Roman Josi, a former member of the Nashville Predators, is going to get his very first Stanley Cup of his career. Vladimir Tarasenko is going to take home the Conn Smythe for the New York Rangers. He kind of looks homeless right now with that face scan, but overall, very well deserved. He's a second liner on their team, but somehow he's going to grab the Conn Smythe, I guess. And there it is, a Stanley Cup being raised in MSG, Madison Square Garden, baby, for the New York Rangers. And here comes their captain, the best captain in the NHL, Jacob Trouba, coming to get the Stanley Cup for the very first time in his career. I cannot even remember the last time New York has won a Stanley Cup. I believe it was in like the 90s against Vancouver, but regardless, here in year number 1, they are going to take home the Stanley Cup as Stanley Cup champions. Now for the playoffs, David Pastrnak is going to have the most goals at 13. 19 and the most points at 26, followed by Vladimir Tarasenko, who had 12 goals and 26 points in only 21 playoff games. Kaprizov at 26, Elias Pettersson 23, Kreider 22, Zibanejad 20 run. What am I saying? Leon Draisaitl is going to take home all the individual awards, the Ted Lindsay, the Maurice Richard, the Art Ross, and the Hart Trophy. Rasmus Dahlin is going to win the Norris, the Lady being the Draisaitl, and of course the Conn Smythe to Tarasenko. Robin Lehner is going to take home the Vezina, and the Selke is going to go to Bergeron. Now, at the end of year number 2, the Calgary Flames are going to end up finishing first in the NHL as they go 51, 22, and 9, followed by the Colorado Avalanche and the New York Rangers, who are the defending champions. Boston was up there, Nashville, New Jersey, and Tampa. At the bottom of the NHL, sadly, we have the San Jose Sharks, who do have Sidney Crosby, but I guess it didn't make much of a difference. St. Louis was also down there, Arizona, and Edmonton. God damn, Leon Draisaitl cannot carry alone, I guess. Nathan MacKinnon is going to go absolutely off as he leads the entire NHL in goals with 61 and points with 127, followed by McDavid's 117. Yet again, 2 years in a row he had that. Draisaitl had 102, Marner 93, Mikko Rantanen had 92, Matthews 92, Zegras was up there, Marchand, and Patrick Kane. Now for goals, other than McKinnon, Kane had the most at 53, followed by Rantanen's 53, Kuch had 49, Ovi 47, Matthews was up there with 47, Marchand had 46, Draisaitl had a pretty good year overall, and McDavid as well. Victor Hedman is going to lead all defensemen in points with 72, followed by Rasmus Dahlin 68, John Carlson 66, Quinn Hughes 66, Hamilton was up there, Cale Makar, Miro Heiskanen, and Charlie McAvoy. For goalies, Jacob Markstrom is going to have the most wins at 44, followed by Georgiev's 43, Freddie Anderson was up there, Shesterkin, Vanacek had another big year with 42 wins, Sorokin 38, Varlamov 38. I have no idea how Boston is not absolutely dominating because they did pick up Ilya Sorokin, who is a better goaltender than Linus Ullmark. And for year number 2, here is our playoff matchups. And in the Stanley Cup final, we have the Winnipeg Jets versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. Two teams that I did not see making the Stanley Cup final, but here they are. Who is going to go on and capture the Stanley Cup in year number 2? And the Winnipeg Jets are going to go on and win the Stanley Cup as they beat Columbus in 4 games in the Stanley Cup final. They would sweep them. It would not even be remotely close. They were by far the better team. And somehow after losing Connor Hellebuck, their starting goalie, but actually picking up Matthew Tkachuk, they are going to go on and win the Stanley Cup in year number 2. I guess Matthew Tkachuk is in fact him. And Mark Scheifele is going to end up taking home the Conn Smythe for the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, I thought maybe Matthew Tkachuk could get it, but Mark Scheifele does simulate very well in this game, so I'm not that surprised. And there it is, boys, the Stanley Cup. And here comes the assistant captain, Josh Morrissey, to collect the Stanley Cup for Winnipeg for the very first time in his career, and I believe the very first time in franchise history, as the Winnipeg Jets in year number 2 go all the way without Connor Hellebuck, but with Matthew Tkachuk, and capture that Stanley Cup. Mark Scheifele is going to tie. It was a 4-way tie for the most points in the playoffs between Mark Scheifele, Bergeron, Cole Perfetti, and Sean Couturier. Patrick Laine had 21, Blake Wheeler 19, Bruce Jenner had 19 as well. Nino Niederreiter was up there. The greatest player of all time, Nathan MacKinnon, is going to take on the Ted Lindsay, the Maurice Richard, the Art Ross, and the Hart Trophy. Victor Hedman is going to win the Norris, the Lady Byng to Zegras, and the Conn Smythe, of course, to Mark Scheifele. Vanacek is going to win the Vezina, and the Selke yet again is going to go to Patrice Bergeron. Now, at the end of year number 3, the Colorado Avalanche are going to end up finishing first in the NHL as they go 53, 23, and 6, followed by the Nashville Predators, the Carolina Hurricanes, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Seattle Kraken. Okay. At the bottom, yet again, we have the Arizona Coyotes. Columbus, who just made the Stanley Cup final, are going to end up finishing second last, and St. Louis was also down there. Yet again, Leon Draisaitl is going to have the most points in the NHL. He would have 115, followed by McDavid's 110, Pasternak had 108, Rantanen 105, Matthews 101, McKinnon 101, Patrick Kane, Mark Scheifele, and Kaprizov all had 97 apiece. Now for goals, Austin Matthews is going to lead the way with 61 goals, followed by Pasternak's 53, Rantanen 51, McDavid 48, Marchand was up there yet again, Patrick Kane, Ovi, Max Pacioretty, and Nikita Kucherov. Yet again, Victor Hedman is going to lead all defensemen in points, this time with 73, followed by Cale Makar 72, Rasmus Dahlin was up there with 72, Charlie McAvoy 66, Carlson, Heiskanen, Pietrangelo, Chris Letang was up there. Alexander Georgiev is going to have the most wins in the NHL at 47, followed by UC Saros is 46, Samsonov was up there, Igor, Tristan Jarry, Ottinger. Now for shutouts, Carter Hart is going to have the most at 8 in the NHL, followed by Demko 7, Jarry had 7, Georgiev 6, and Varlamov 6. And this is what our year 3 playoff matchups look look like. And in the Stanley Cup final, yet again, we have the Winnipeg Jets as they are back there, but instead they're going to play the Tampa Bay Lightning this time, who is going to go on and take home the Stanley Cup in year number 3. What is going on with Nikita Kucherov's mouth right now? Why is his mouth guard hanging like that? And despite losing the best goalie in the entire game in Andrei Vasilevsky, the Tampa Bay Lightning are still going to go on and win the Stanley Cup. I mean, that just says how good Tampa Bay really is. They have amazing guys on their team like Cooch, Stammer, Braden Point is still there, Victor Hedman. They still have a great overall team, but I do believe that Vasi overall makes them. And Nikita Kucherov is going to take home the Conn Smythe for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Cooch, baby, he did not get one in real life, but he is going to get one here in NHL 23. And there it is, a Stanley Cup being raised in Winnipeg, but not for the Jets. And here comes the captain, Steven Stamkos, coming to get the Stanley Cup for the 3rd time in his career. He has now 3 Stanley Cups, all with the Tampa Bay Lightning, as they are the modern day dynasty, just like the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Chicago Blackhawks, as the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to take home the Stanley Cup here in year number 3. Nikita Kucherov is going to go absolutely off in the playoffs, 17 goals and 30 points, followed by Braden Point's 28, Patrick Kane had 22, Stammer had 21, Jordan Kyrou was up there, Zegras had 17, Pasta is going to take home the Ted Lindsay and the Hart Trophy, while the Art Ross is going to go to Leon Draisaitl and the Maurice Richard to Matthews. Cale Makar somehow is going to win the Norris, the Lady Byng to Pasta, and the Conn Smythe to Kucherov. UC Saros is going to win the Vezina, and the Selke is going to go to Alexander Barkov. At the end of year number 4, the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to end up finishing 1st in the NHL as they go 48, 26, and 8, followed by the New York Rangers, the Nashville Predators, the Seattle Kraken. New Jersey was up there, Philly, Tampa, who are the defending champs. At the bottom of the NHL, yet again, the Columbus Blue Jackets, this time finishing dead last in the NHL. Minnesota was also down there, Arizona, Detroit, and Florida. Yet again, Nathan MacKinnon is going to have the most points in the NHL. He would have 146, followed by Connor McDavid's 122. Zegras had 111, Matthews 97, Pasta was up there, Patrick Kane, Alex DeBrincat, Draisaitl, and Kaprizov would all have 94 apiece. Connor McDavid is going to have the most goals in the NHL at 60, followed by McKinnon's 48, actually 58, my bad. Austin Matthews at 57, Kane 56. Man, Patrick Kane simulates so goddamn well in this game. Pasternak was up there with 47, Marchand 47, Rantanen, Eichel, Jack Eichel was up there with 44. Ovi has been pretty quiet. Drew Doughty is going to make a comeback as he leads all defensemen in points with 74, followed by Quinn Hughes at 73, Dahlin 70, Chris Letang was up there, Victor Hedman, Cale Makar, Dougie Hamilton. Igor and UC Saros are going to tie for the most wins in the NHL at 43 apiece, followed by Carter Hart's 41, Martin Jones at 38, Vanacek 38, and Varlamov 37. For shutouts, yet again, Carter Hart is going to lead the way with 9, followed by Igor 7, Hellebuck at 7, Craig Anderson was up there with 6, Binnington 6, and this is what our year 4 playoff matchups will look like. And in the Stanley Cup final, we have the Seattle Kraken versus the New York Rangers, who is going to go on and win the Stanley Cup in year number 4. And the Seattle Kraken are going to go on and win their very first Stanley Cup in franchise history, led by Austin Matthews. That is right. I think that's the most surprising statement I've ever made on my channel, Austin Matthews leading a team to a Stanley Cup. But regardless, they are champions here in year number 4, as they are going to destroy the New York Rangers in 5 games in the Stanley Cup final. It was not even close. And of course, who else would it be but Austin Matthews to take home the Stanley Cup? I mean, the Conn Smythe for the Seattle Kraken. And there it is, a Stanley Cup being raised in MSG yet again, but this time for the Seattle Kraken. And here comes their assistant captain, Jordan Eberle, coming to collect the Stanley Cup. Why would Austin Matthews not go up and get it? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Regardless, there he is, Jordan Eberle, getting the Stanley Cup for the very first time in his career, as the Seattle Kraken are Stanley Cup champions in year number 4. Now for the playoffs, Austin Matthews is going to lead in goals with 18 and points with 32, followed by Clayton Keller, who had 22, Zibanejad 21, Burakovsky was up there, Mitch Marner had 20, only 2 goals but 18 assists. Nathan MacKinnon is going to take home the Ted Lindsay, the Art Ross, and the Hart Trophy, while Connor McDavid is going to win the Maurice Richard. Drew Doughty is going to take home the Norris, the Lady Byng to McKinnon, and the Conn Smythe to Matthews. Carter Hart is going to win the Vezina, and the Selke yet again is going to go to Bergeron. At the end of year number 5, the 5th and final season, the New Jersey Devils are going to end up finishing 1st in the NHL as they go 53, 22, and 7, followed by the defending champs, the Seattle Kraken, the Dallas Stars, Tampa Bay was up there, Colorado, and Carolina. At the bottom of the NHL, yet again, we have the St. Louis Blues, the Winnipeg Jets, and the Arizona Coyotes. Nathan MacKinnon is going to lead the entire NHL in goals with 61, while he would tie with McDavid for goals with 61, but he would have the most points at 133, followed by McDavid's 130, Draisaitl 110, Matthews 105, 105, Marner 102, David Pastrnak was up there with 101, Jack Eichel, Mikko Rantanen, and Trevor Zegras. Now for goals, McKinnon and McDavid would each tie with 61 apiece, followed by Matthews 57, Pasta had 54, Draisaitl 49, Jeff Skinner was up there, Ovi, Rantanen, and Marchand. Quinn Hughes is going to have the most points by a defenseman with 74, followed by Dougie Hamilton 68, Victor Hedman had 68, Miro Heiskanen 67, Carlson was up there with 62, Adam Fox 60. For goalies, yet again, Vanacek is going to have the most wins this time with 44, followed by Ottinger's 43, Varlamov 43, Martin Jones 41, Robin Leonard was up there, Markstrom, Freddie Anderson, Samsonov, and Carter Hart. For shutouts, Samsonov is going to have the most at 8, followed by Varlamov 7, Freddie Anderson 6, Mrazek 5, and Hellebuck 5. And here we go as we head into the final playoff run of the video. Here's our matchups here, boys. And in the Stanley Cup final, yet again, the New York Rangers have made it, but they're up against the Calgary Flames, who is going to go on and win the Stanley Cup in the 5th and final season of this video. And the Calgary Flames are going to go on and win the Stanley Cup, led by guys like Jason Robertson, Dylan Larkin, and Jonathan Huberdeau, as they defeat the Rangers in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final. They did have a 3-1 lead. They blew it, but they would clutch up in Game 7 to get the victory and get the Stanley Cup, as I did not expect Calgary to win a Stanley Cup during this video, but here they are. Jason Robertson is going to take home the Conn Smythe for the Calgary Flames. I mean, he is their best player. And there it is, the Stanley Cup being raised in MSG for a 3rd time in the video. Only one time the Rangers actually won it, but... And here comes their assistant captain, Tanev? Chris Tanev, to come lift the Stanley Cup. You could have got anybody else on the team, literally anybody else. Regardless, there he is lifting the Stanley Cup, as the Calgary Flames have gone all the way to win the Stanley Cup in year number 5, the 5th and final season of the video. Mika Zibanejad is going to lead all skaters in points for the playoffs with 26, followed by Patrick Kane's 23, Robo had 23, Pedersen 22, Jordan Kyrou had 22, Kucherov 20, Mikko Rantanen 19, Stammer 19. Connor McDavid is going to take home the Ted Lindsay, the Maurice Richard, and the Hart Trophy, while Nathan McKinnon is going to win the Art Ross. The Norris is going to go to Miro Heiskanen, the Lady Bing to Pasta, and the Conn Smythe, of course, to Jason Robertson. Simeon Varlamov is going to win the Vezina, and the Selke yet again is going to go to Bergeron. And that is going to do it for this video, boys. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. NHL 24 is right around the corner. I cannot wait, boys. I have a lot of banger ideas in store for you guys, so stay tuned for that. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, don't be silly. Wrap your willy.